I will say that all the sports action was shot last. And that was something that it's really great to be involved in that previs process, as they say. We kind of got to design all those sports plays based on things that the writers had found on YouTube. So the two big sports episodes are episodes 5 and 10. And I did 10, and that crazy corner kick play, the Sandman play, where they kick it through 3 players' legs, and it's the 4th player who kicks the ball. Those were moments that Brendan Hunt is a huge soccer fan, and so I think he found a lot of these plays on YouTube and sent them over to us and to productions. Like, can we recreate a lot of these plays? But Kip Kroger, our supervising producer, went and commissioned a bunch of cartoon animatics of players running around. And Mel and I would just laugh hysterically cutting this stuff because these are the goofiest stick figures. And when we would intercut them with real picture, it just became like we were cutting this ridiculous Warhol film. But we got to design how that would work and how we would showcase. And we realized quickly that your instinct is to go into close-ups, but that's not how they film soccer. Soccer is always wide in a TV angle. It's different from how American football or baseball is shot, where they go in close, because there's timeouts in American sports. In soccer, the clock is continuous. So it's always in a wide TV angle. This moves back and forth on the field. So it became a moment for Mel and I to figure out how to incorporate when we can go to close-ups when we're in our players' world versus the TV world.
Episode 7, where Ted's having a conversation with his son on FaceTime, and the footage came in, and I was like, "Ooh, where's the Ted Lasso on the iPhone?" So when I cut to the laptop, and they didn't get that, so that is actually Ted's close-up. And so my assistant, I was like, "Just try to build the beats from the audio pieces I was using." But when I would go to that laptop, a lot of times I was pulling up stuff. So she was doing fluid morphs for the little Ted box in the corner. So she was doing fluid morphs to get the sentences to line up. And then we sent it to the VFX house. I think for me, like just thinking about how I organized that scene, flashing back to how I cut, especially in the press conference, I had so much footage, right? And so I would make string outs. That's a lot of, and I'll have just like a bin of string outs. So then I'll have Roy, I'll have this player, I'll have the guys in the bar, and I just kind of like string it out wide to tight so I can just quickly get to that footage, because a lot of times too it'd be handheld, so it'd be a move over here, so you'd have a bit, you would never know, kind of like if you just looked in your bin, it's like, where was that shot where it panned over and you found, and I could steal that little bit. So like I would, have string outs for organization like that and then I could easily find my cutaways when I was watching the show and being like, you know what, I do need Roy here. Let me go to that Roy string out and find something that would work.
There is a lot of passes that Jason will do with us to make sure that there is sort of an arc and flow to the scene. And certainly with the speeches, he has some great speeches he gives to the team in both of our episodes. So, one that comes to mind is episode 10, the finale. He comes out and talks about the saying, there's that saying, it's the hope that kills you. And he says, I disagree. I believe and believe. And so we really worked with Jason to have a strategy of how we cut to each side of the room. When he makes a declarative statement, we would cut to one side of the room. And when he asks the questions like, do you believe in miracles? We would cut to the other side of the room. And you want to see how he's playing on the characters. So yeah, with Jason, very much, it does need to build dramatically and in pacing and then kind of arc back down.
He really did love the editing process.
Yeah, very involved.
He was very involved.
Mm-hmm.
Him and Bill kind of tag team.
Yeah.
Jason had such a great vision for the show and for the characters. And so he was very involved.
And in different ways. We got to work with them in the room. And then when we had to leave the Warner Brothers lot in the pandemic and we had to move the whole show to Evercast and Zoom, it became very fun to be, Zooming with Jason Sudeikis all day long.
Yeah. It was great for ADR lines because I have this little ADR sound recorder, and he'd be like, "Oh, I'll do that real quick for you," and come over. And you don't think that the voice is that different, but it is. Like from how he talks, he puts on the Ted Lasso thing.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, awesome. Now I don't have to go over to AJ and say, hey, they want this line. Can you do it?
Yeah.
And there was one line that he was like, I think I nailed it. I actually don't want to do that in ADR. So they used one of the ADR lines in the final mix.
My sense is that this was Jason Sudeikis's probably most involved experience in the cutting room compared to perhaps some of his other movies and TV projects. Just because he really, I could sense that he was very kind of in awe when he first kind of came in and saw the power of the Avid. He loved that we could use, the fluid morph tool to pull up pacing between lines and then hide a jump cut. He loved the ability to resize and reframe shots. As Mel also mentioned, speed ramping. We did a lot with the action scenes. So we just kind of developed this shorthand between me, Mel, and Jason. We just when we were kind of stuck in a cut and it wasn't quite working, he's like, what movie magic could we do here? And he kind of said it in that Ted Lasso voice as though Ted was experiencing a nonlinear editing for the first time. So
Yeah.
really amazing to work with him.